family, what's going on? It's your girl Vivian. Welcome back to my channel. So first off, I would like to say if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Vivian and I am a music education student at a university here in Texas. I am a senior and I am about say 2 semesters away from student teaching, which is crazy. So welcome, and go ahead and subscribe if you're interested in everything. So today I'm going to be talking about a question I get often asked: what is a COA for is flute related? And so I'm going to explain to you every detail that I know about a COA and whether you should get one or not. So let's get into this video. Okay, so this was something that I found out later on in my college years. I had no idea about this. When I first started in middle school and high school, I would just think that, you know, there was something wrong with it, my flute, and then I would just take it to the shop. Till I really got into college, then that's when I had professors tell me about this, flute professors. So what a COA stands for is clean, oil, and alignment. And there's another acronym that goes with it, but I don't remember the name. So basically, how this is explained is your flute or any kind of instrument is a working mechanism, meaning, you know, you're pressing buttons down, you got levers moving, you got springs, you got pads. This is like a machine. And same thing with a car, it's a machine. Over time, after using this machine so long, you're gonna have a breakdown. Now, unlike a car where you go get it fixed, you get your oil changed, you get your tire changed. Obviously, I can't change my tires on my flute. But there are some things you can be watchful for on your flute and say, okay, I need a COA done. So you may ask, how often should I get a COA? So myself personally, my instruments get one once a year. With me playing at different performances in college, you know, once a year is plenty for me, and you know, the place that I take does a fantastic job, and they keep it for as long as they need to and get everything done that needs to be taken care of. So I'm just going to point out some basic things, you know, to look for if you think you need a COA or you think something's going on with your flute. Again, I'm not an expert in all of this, so if you are interested in getting a COA, I would be sure to ask your flute professor or your teacher before starting with this. Okay, so number one, up here in the flute, you have your crown on the flute. Inside this crown is called a tuning cork. This is what tunes your instrument and everything. So after a while, you know, with spit and condensation, you know, that cork will start to loosen up and then it'll eventually, you know, fall apart, and that can cause a lot of tuning issues. So I always, when I have my COAs done, tell them to check my tuning cork. Luckily this time, my tuning cork was right on. No problems there at all. Now on my piccolo, on the other hand, I could tell I had some tuning issues going on because I would tune and I would listen to the band and it'd still be out of tune. And so I took it in and my tuning cork was loose, so they replaced it, no problem. Okay, so moving down, you can get a clean job. So what I have in my case to kind of help prevent this is these kind of all bent up, but these are silver savers because my flute is sterling silver. These just go in my case. They last for 6 months and prevents any kind of rust or anything that develops on my flute per se. And then also every time that I play my flute, I always take a soft cloth like this, and they make these specially for flutes, and you can see the dirt because that's the oils from your hands getting on your flute. And I wipe down my flute from head to toe to help with developing any rust. Now, some People do not do this because they feel that, you know, the more build up, the better it is for them to play. They feel more comfortable, more ease. Myself personally, I cannot stand a little smudge on my flute, so I wipe it down constantly. And this also prevents the rust from happening. Now, a lot of parents and a lot of students ask, can I just give my flute a bath? And the answer is no, absolutely not. You cannot give your flute a bath. Leave that to the professionals, because they can take all of the rods and the keys and the pads off and use a special solution to dunk your flute in to wash it. Don't ever wash your flute. Give it a bath. I've even heard something where a parent tried to put their child's flute in the dishwasher. Like, it's crazy. So don't ever try to bathe your flute. Don't get it wet. Don't do anything to it. Leave it to the experts. So moving on down from the flute, you know, you could get some scratches, some dents. They can easily fix that as well. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, this is a moving machine, a moving mechanism. So, you know, you may have like a spring that pops out, or you may have a pad that falls off, or that's leaking, or, you know, just playing over time. You may have an alignment issue. Simple, easy things that can be fixed by your local repair person. My flute had a little leak and alignment issue, and it's just basically from playing it, and it happens. Easy fix. Do not try to fix it on your own unless you know what you're doing. These screws that hold the rods in and tendons for your flute are very sensitive, and even one slight little adjustment with a screwdriver can screw up your flute major time. So do not mess with any of these screws unless you know absolutely what you're doing. Okay, for his pad wise, you know, we swab out our flute after we get done playing, or you're supposed to. But of course, you know, some of that condensation moisture still stays on your pads and your corks. So over time, those pads and corks can start a leak in them, where you're not getting a very clear sound on your flute, or they can fall off. Now, this is common to happen. I've had, let me think, on my old flute, my student flute, I had, I think, a pad fall off, and I've had a cork fall off, but I have not had any problems with this flute. So it's important, you know, to always swab it out when you're done playing. But even if it does fall off, or you think you have a leak, you know, that's an easy repair they can do. Again, so they will just go through the body of the flute looking for any kind of alignment. They have a special stick at place I take my flute that's a light, and they stick it up inside the flute, and they can close every key, and if they see light coming through the key, then they know there's a leak. So then they can adjust it and make any other little adjustments. Super simple. Pads, again, corks, you know, it's that basic maintenance thing that happens. Again, like I said, it is a machine, so you know, you may need a little oil job, so they can take in their little tiny bottles and stuff, and you know, just do a little drop of oil here or there or anywhere. Super simple. Okay. When it comes down to the foot of your flute, it's basically the same thing. You know, you got your pads, you got the cork, you know, you got some movable pieces here, so oil, obviously. But that is mainly the biggest thing. Now, if there's scratches on your flute, or you have dents on your flute, you can get those fixed. And usually, I know at my place, they will get, like, if they see something, they will fix that. Let me see here. I was going to check something. See, I had a major scratch on my head joint, and it looks like they took care of that. And I didn't even ask them, and they took care of that for me. So again, you know, just basic stuff flashing. It was weird. Just basic, simple maintenance to do on your flute. Again, I would highly recommend talking to your professor or your teacher before doing this, but I think it's well worth doing this because you will start out with a new semester or a new school year with a flute that is freshly been to the shop and everything is good and ready to go, and you are less likely to have breakdowns during the year. Now, I'm not saying, oh, it's not going to happen, because anything can happen, but you're less likely to have those breakdowns or have more of severity of a breakdown if you were just to go all year without getting it done. So that is my input on a COA and what exactly a COA is. I hope this video was really informative to you. Be sure, if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, you guys. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.